Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh 5 here on Megalopolis. This is where I turn the lights down low and just wish list about action figures I'd like to see. And it may be off, it may be weird, it may be a little bit out there. That's the whole point of wish listing. We're just throwing it out into the ether and hoping something sticks sometime. So today's list is going to be Marvel Legends. It's going to be of the Mutant variety. And it's going to be box sets. I know Hasbro doesn't do a lot of box sets. They sneak them in here and there. But that's, again, wish listing. I'd like to see more box sets. Just give me the majority of a team, be done with it, and I can move on to my next wants. First up is kind of a runner-up, though. I break my own rules right off the bat. Is this. Yes, I know Hasbro is giving us a movie Deadpool, movie Cable, Domino, but I'd like to see more. And in a box set, give us, I don't know, Shatterstar, give us Peter, give us Weasel, even. I'd like to see Colossus for sure, and then Juggernaut. But since they are giving us a Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and putting Juggernaut and Colossus, two big characters, in the same box set, remove one of those and give us Yukio. Zeitgeist would be cool too. I mean, there's a lot of figures to pick here. Vanisher? Oh no! Vanisher could be like an empty slot in the box set. Or, again, breaking my rules, go away from the box set concept, make it a retro carded wave with a Build-A-Figure in each one that builds Vanisher. Just have an empty space in the tray in each of the figures. While some people who have no humor would be like, I'm not paying full price for just a figure and no Build-A-Figure, and I don't like Hasbro yanking our chain. The rest of us that don't have sticks up our butts will laugh about it and think of it as a very Deadpool thing to do to a wave. Coming in at number 5, though, probably the least likeliest box set on this list, hell, probably the least likely figures to ever get made in Marvel Legends form, I have to go with Agent X, or Agency X. I was out of comics for a long time, and one of the other teams on this list brought me back to comics. But while I was reading that, I was also reading Deadpool, of course. While I loved the whole Deadpool run, when Gale came on, it became kind of even more hilarious. And when the whole Liefeld versus Marvel for Deadpool, Cable, and X-Force came along, they switched Deadpool to Agent X. And Gale's same style of writing carried over to that, and I just loved it, because here was a new character that I was in on the ground floor with, and I was excited, and I was like, oh, this is mine. And all these other characters showed up, and it was just cool. And it lasted for a whole 12 issues, and then came back for 3 more to finish off the story. But for a box set, you have to have Alex, and you have to have Outlaw, and you have to have an Udon Taskmaster. And while I would love to have Sandy in there, or even Mary Zero, because they're part of the cast, I figure for a retail or an exclusive box set, you have to throw in some recognizable characters, like Agent X isn't high up their A-list material. So since Arcade showed up in the series and was part of Alex's circus thing, I'd like to see him in here. And then, of course, an anchor would be Deadpool. Give him a slightly different costume, a different look, something, but it would fit, and it would be recognizable. Like I said, this thing has a 1 in a million chance of getting made, much less Agent X getting made. But you know what? I want it, and I love it. Number 5. Agent X. For number 4, we're going to go back in time a little bit. Not real far, not as far as some may want me to go, but we're going to go back to the Outback era of X-Men. This was my X-Men. Even though I like newer iterations of the team more, the Outback team was what I grew up with. This is when I got into comics. So a box set would probably consist of Wolverine, of course, maybe a torn up costume. I doubt they'd give us the X to crucify him on, but kind of that look. Beaten, bloody. Colossus could be a lot of reuse. Give him a bare chest, of course, for that look. Because it's a little bit more raw, you know? He's made of metal. Why does he need clothes? This is also a perfect opportunity to slip in a new long shot. So, what is that, 3? Let's throw some females in there. Psylocke, everybody loves the ninja version. I'm more of an Armored Betsy fan. So we gotta get her in there with the purples and the pinks and the cape and the hood. Yeah. Oh, should I go Storm or Rogue here? I like Rogue's kind of plain looking costume, but at the same time, I'll always be down for Storm. If it were a Storm, though, I want a huge head of hair. Gun to my head, though, I'd probably go Rogue, because while she's had a few figures in the line, I I think Storm's had more, at least recently. That's 5. I wish I could throw in that classic look for Havoc too, but if it comes down to it, put Havoc and Polaris, like their X Factor pack, put them in a classic pack with both of their original looks. So there's number 4, Outback X-Men. Some reuse, a couple of new faces, a couple of new looks for characters we already have. Number 3, going back to that same era of Agent X, I've got to go with Ecstatics. Or X-Force, but I prefer the later team when they were called Ecstatics, which is missing You-Go Girl. I mean, I like a lot of those early characters, but You-Go Girl needs to be made in plastic form somewhere. But for the box set I want, just straight up give us Orphan, give us Vivisector, give us Fat, give us Dead Girl, give us Anarchist, and give us Venus de Milo. I know that's 6 characters, but I'm going to cheat here because I couldn't pick one to exclude. Hell, Perfect World, it'd also have a new dupe in there because he's a little bit harder to get now. This box set would be a whole lot of new sculpt because of the banded arms and legs on Orphan, the hairy body for Vivisector, the lumpy body for Fat. Dead Girl and Anarchist could probably reuse parts and pieces from other figures. And then of course dupe would be a straight up reissue. Well, I don't know if Hasbro actually has the molds for that Toy Biz Marvel Legends Wave 6 figure. Just want this set. It's wacky, it's wild, it's out there. It's not referenced a lot anymore, but I don't know. It was a fun book, and I'd like action figures from it. Number 3, Ecstatics. Number 2 may not be a popular choice, but like I said, I was out of comics for a while. New X-Men brought me in. Guess what number 2 is? That's right, X-Men in boring-ass black leather. But not movie-style boring-ass black leather. At least they had big yellow puffy X's on them. And White Queen was barely wearing clothes at all. I guess it had to be glued on, right? I think Toy Biz did Wolverine in this costume. I always wanted to see more. I mean, it would just be a nice little display. One and done. Just one hit. Don't need anything else. And yeah, Cyclops has his little thin visor going across. But of course his jacket is closed, sealed up, you know, all the way up because it's Cyclops. Jean, I would forego the jacket. Just give her like the sweater with the texture on it. That was always a good look. Beast, you know you got to make him big. You got to give him the kick out leg, the look to that head. White Queen is essentially a female body. Give her some leggings with wrinkles on them. You're done. You're good. Straight hair. And then Wolverine, of course. Short, pants, jacket, open. You can't lose with this set, at least with me. I'd buy it. I don't know how many other people would buy it, but you have my, $120, I would guess the price on this. Number 2, new X-Men. Probably not a popular choice. This one I hope is popular though because I see it mentioned a lot on forums, social media, and it's classic. It's a good looking set. It's a good looking costumes. It's Excalibur. The cover of Excalibur number 1 is exactly what I want in a box set. I don't know how you would do Rachel with her energy phoenix wings sticking out. Maybe just make her in red and then a clip-on piece that has a phoenix wings out. I guess you could cheat it like that. The Perfect World, a later deluxe set, would have her with attachments that stick on. Shadowcat, yes, we've gotten Kitty, and I love that look for her. The astonishing look, but we need that classic blue puffy sleeved. It's kind of ugly now, but at the time, it's an amazing looking suit. Nightcrawler would just be reuse. He's already out of the way. Hear me, Hasbro? It's easy. Easy. Captain Britain. This is where we get into weird territory. Excalibur was near and dear to my heart. Still is. I drew this cover on everything I could see. I wasn't great, but I tried. So in my brain, I have a very specific body shape for Brian. And I don't feel like any of Hasbro's current bodies fit that. He needs to be big and bulky, but svelte and lean. Does that make any sense? It's a very unique, specific shape. But Megan is pretty much a new head sculpt and maybe a new add-on piece for the collar. So those 5 in a box set with Widget, with Lockheed, of course. But if they do make a new sculpt for Captain Britain, I know they won't, but if they did, they could make more money off of it by releasing a 2-pack later with Captain Britain and Megan in their Cross-Time Caper costumes, where they got their new costumes. Because I actually prefer Megan in her green and black with the M on it. And then I'm pretty cool with Brian in that later costume with the diamonds. Still red, still white, still blue. I prefer the Union Jack look from earlier in the series, but I'll take both. So number 1, Excalibur. You thought I was going to say Astonishing X-Men, didn't you? And I'm surprised I didn't. Hell, I'm really surprised I didn't shove them in somewhere else. But out of all these box sets, or well, out of thinking about future X-Men box sets, Astonishing seems like, I don't know, the most possible. It's a reuse Kitty, it's reuse Emma, reuse Wolverine, reuse Cyclops on that same body they've been using, and then give us a new Beast. That would be cool. And I thought about putting that in here, but I figured go for the gold. So there you go, another Fwoosh 5. Lots of daydreaming. I'm not expecting any of these to happen anytime soon, but if they did, I want all the credit. Thanks to Megalopolis for hosting this. These are always a pleasure to make. It's kind of harder to do when I can't just drive up to Veeb's house and we shoot something. Hopefully things get back to normal soon. We can go back to yakking back and forth, making these longer, and I don't know. I miss having someone to talk to whenever I'm wish listing. But until then, I'll catch you on the Fwoosh and Megalopolis.